So we've got another beautiful blue sky day here in Finland, and I'm going to talk to you about spring in Finland. What's it like? You know, because there'll be people saying, oh, like, you know, there's still loads of snow, it looks like you've still got winter here. So the first thing to admit is that yes, you know, spring in Finland, by the way, I live in a place called Pori, which is in southwest Finland. It is very, very different from the springs that I remembered when I was living in England, either in Rochdale, or Croydon or Guildford. Those were the three main places that I lived in England. And so as Brits will know, even by mid-February, you can see daffodils in the southern part of England. There's no sign of that in Pori at the moment. You know, you can just about see what's left of the cross-country skiing tracks disappearing as the first characteristic of the Finnish kind of spring begins, which is the snow gradually melts. So I think Finland, I always think it looks nice whatever the time of year, you know, and it can look extremely different from one month to the next. But I would say that this time of the year, I think it looks least attractive. And, well, you know, you can see here, we don't have daffodils, but you can see the beginnings of buds on some bushes. Somebody will tell me. The other main thing that happens here in the spring is the length of the days gets longer extremely rapidly. So at the moment, we're in the second week of March. And basically it was light at about 7:20 when I climbed out of bed this morning. And, you know, on a day like today, nice blue sky, won't be dark at 7 o'clock. So we're already getting pretty close now to the day being of an equal length as the night. And on March the 21st, we actually get the equinox, equi meaning equal, doesn't it? An equinox is a situation where the length of the day is the same as the length of the night. So it'll be 24 hours in a day, so 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. Now what's quite interesting, I'm not going to stray into this territory of what shape the planet is, you know, and all of that. But what's quite interesting is on March the 21st in the UK, there's also an equinox. So on that one day, and on the other equinox, September the 21st, the length of the day in Britain, 12 hours, is exactly the same as the length of the day in Finland. So can anyone explain that? Like, obviously we're Britain and Finland, completely different latitudes, longitudes, whatever. But on that day, we get the same length of day and night in both countries. Then of course what happens is that for the next 6 months here in Finland we have much longer days than you guys have. You know, by June the 21st, the longest day, it doesn't really properly go dark here. And you can just, as I showed you that bush a minute ago, you can just about see nature sort of waking up. I'll just show you there. And then also the other thing as well is that you get migrating birds returning. So this week I've seen some swans. Then in about, different birds come back at different times. I hope you're enjoying this video. I think it's important to appreciate nature, isn't it? Let's have a... So we're heading towards the lake, which is one of my favourite spots. This winter I've not done as much winter cycling because I think we had a lot of snow. Well, we did have a lot of snow in November, and then it rained and it converted it into ice, and then snow fell on top of the ice, so it's quite slippery all the way through the winter, unlike previous winters. And so anyway, the birds come back at different times, different types of bird. So my favourite actually is to come here to this big lake. This is a shortcut in the winter time. People will walk across the lake but already now things are melting, and it's no longer safe to walk across this lake. But it's still maybe 2 or 3 weeks away from melting completely. And then what happens is that we get two, because we're by the sea as well, we get two interesting types of birds that come back. We get cormorants, which fishermen don't like. They love eating like Baltic herring in particular. And then we also get these, in Finnish, they call them like sea eagles. And what they do is that they prey on the cormorants, particularly the young ones. So you can see there's an island, and I don't know if you can actually see it on the video here. I'm shooting this with my mobile phone as ever. Is that you can see nests that the cormorants made in previous springs and summers. And then, of course, you know, what goes in must come out. So the cormorants eat an awful lot of fish, and their poop is quite toxic. So it's actually killed those birch trees, those tall birch. So as I've been saying all week, you know, what I like about here is that when the weather comes from the east in particular, we can get stuck in like a high pressure weather system, and so we just get blue skies for weeks on end. And that's where we are at the moment. And you know, with the sun out, it's beginning, you can just about feel it beginning to get warm. So hopefully I'll get rid of my pasty skin from the winter time. And you know, with the sun is shining onto the snow that's still here. So for the next 2 or 3 weeks, month maybe, tops, until the snow melts, it can be extremely bright here. You know, those of you that have done skiing in the Alps, it's like that. It's that bright. There are some birds that stay here over the winter. There's some jackdaws flying around here. There was a small, I don't know if it was a blue tit or whatever. The other thing that I love about here, even in the winter time, is the colours. So can you see there's a spruce tree with cones on it, and then you get this really deep blue, really deep blue sky. And I'm not using any filters or anything like that, but I just love that contrast between the dark green and this deep blue. And this is what I'm saying, I guess, about this video is, be a glass half full type of person. You know, there's so much to enjoy about this wonderful world that was created for us, and all we have to do is get out of our houses and or flats or whatever, and enjoy it. There you heard. That's jackdaw. They're a bit bigger than the ones in England, and I don't know how they survive over the winter, but they do. They just stay here all winter. The jackdaw is like the symbol of, or one of the symbols of Pori. The other one being a bear, karhu, as they say in Finland. And there are still some karhu bears, karhut in Finnish, in this area of Finland. And occasionally they do attack people. You know, there was an occasion not so long ago where some jogger was eaten because he was running on a jogging path, and by accident he kind of got between a bear and its cubs, and the bear basically thought it was attacking his cubs, and the jogger got eaten. Also, the other one, of course, is wolves. I'm not sure if I've told you much about that in the past, but we get there's a lot of wolves here, and again, most of the time they're scared of human beings, and I think it's been well over 100 years since the last time a wolf attacked a human in Finland. But they do love eating people's pet dogs. So A lot of Finns have go hunting. They hunt moose, you know, elk, and they'll use dogs as a, you know, to try to get the elk rather, to go to where the hunters are with their guns so that they can kill it. Then they eat it. They eat the meat. Elk meat is fantastic. Very high protein, low fat. Of course, you know, the elk have just been eating moss and blueberries and raspberries and stuff like that. So, and they've not had any growth hormone injected into them, obviously, because they're completely wild, and they taste absolutely delicious. We're into this little bit of forest here, and you can see there's not, the snow's rapidly disappearing here. And there's quite a bit of bird life going on. As I get older, I really like just monitoring the passing of time, you know, the seasons changing. It just gives me an awful lot of pleasure just to sort of see it and observe it. And I suppose in some ways it's very humbling, isn't it? You know, you're just part of this greater world, and things like the seasons changing. Well, there's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing that Jill Bates can do about that, or Klaus Schwab or whatever. You know, there are some things that that are most definitely beyond these people's control. Anyway, I was reading the paper yesterday, and there was a big article about, I think like last year, like 85 dogs, pet dogs or hunting dogs, were eaten by wolves in Finland. So if you ever come to Finland and you bring your dog, make sure you keep it on a lead, even when it's in the forest, because there's a good chance it might get eaten. That wouldn't be good, especially not for the dog. I'm offended anybody there, but I think, you know, what I think as well, I'm a big fan of nature and its natural form, and I've always had a bit of a strange feeling about pets, you know. Is it like morally right to take what was a wild animal, a dog, and then, you know, turn it into a tool? It's almost like a bit like slavery, isn't it? The dog is just there for the amusement of, it exists for the amusement of human beings, their owners. Don't know, you can tell, I'm sure there'll be lots of people out there who really disagree with that, and I also think too that human beings are pretty cool, and the advantage of a human being over an animal is that, you know, as a friend, is that you know, a human being can talk to you, whereas a dog can't. Now, something else that's interesting here is was a big pine tree. It's fallen down. There's another one over there that's fallen down. And what happens is that when there's a big storm, some of these trees can come down, and it's a conservation area. And what that means is that you're supposed to let the trees rot here rather than chopping them up for firewood, because it kind of re-fertilizes the land, so more new trees grow. So I quite like that. I quite like that idea. I'll go with that. You know, you can see here that there's no shortage of firewood at all. You know, the only issue is the time and effort that it's going to take you, you know, with a chainsaw and an axe to chop it up for your wood stove, which was the main way that Finns in the countryside have always heated their homes, you know, use it by burning wood. Also a lot of free food in the forest. There's some sort of weird type of mushroom. I wouldn't eat that myself because I don't know what it is, but I have read sometimes that these mushrooms that grow on trees, some of them can be okay for you. I don't know if that's true or not. And then another thing here, you know, you've got the other day I made some pine needle tea, and that was fantastic. So these are the things that I would never have done when I lived in England. I'd have gone to, I don't know, Sainsbury's or Tesco and bought some like herbal tea that was made by some big corporation. Again, you can hear the bird song. So you can see here these wooden planks that have been put down. Now, the reason for that is that this area, it's close to a lake. There's also the sea is over in this direction. It's about maybe a couple of miles away tops. And then on the other side there, the other side of the railway track, up and over the hill, about another couple of miles, you've got this huge river. I looked on Wikipedia, and this Kokomaki River is the biggest, widest river estuary in Europe. So there are these, especially when the snow melts, begins to melt like it is now. This area can get a bit wet, and I'm going to try and walk across here now, and you know, I'm just wonder whether this ice might hold my weight if I slip off the wooden boards. But you know, you have to take a few risks. You have to take a few risks in your life, don't you? You know. And you know, balancing on these boards, on these snow piles, you know, it's good, isn't it? You know, especially for a 58, soon to be 59-year-old, to, as I say, just as I've been keep on saying again and again and again, just get out into the fresh air and just enjoy nature. And I know this will upset some of my British viewers, my British subscribers. Honest truth is that I think hobbies like most Finns do, they do walking. They see it almost like as a form of exercise. I know there'll be people on here saying, "Oh well, I walk too, and I live in England." But what I'm saying here is that virtually everybody does it, and I think it's great. It's a good idea. I'll just turn the camera around again. So you got those reeds that lead into the lake, and as in the next month or so, there'll be more and more and more of those. As it all unfreezes and things start properly growing. Right, for my next challenge here, the wood is like, it must have sunk in the autumn, and there's ice on top of it. So, wish me luck. Let's see. Ooh. Am I brave enough to go across it? I think so. I don't think it's going to melt. Drat. I didn't get wet, but it's not thick enough anymore for me to walk across. So we'll finish on that. So is there anything else that I need to say to sum up the spring in Finland? Well, the last thing is just how rapidly the length of the day changes, and you can easily be caught out. I remember when I was living in this place called Oulu, which is a town up north. That was between 2004 2006. I was teaching the International Baccalaureate in English to Finnish 16 to 19-year-olds. And I remember I went out I went to visit a pub with a guy, another expat that I knew. And in fact, it's happened in other places too. I've been out with my in-laws in a place called Pori. So you go out and it might be still light at 10 o'clock, you know, in about a month's time. And so, you know, have a few drinks and have a bit of a chat and whatever. And you look outside and you've actually missed the night time. So you look outside and you think it's still light. So without looking at your watch, you still conclude that it's not too late yet. But what's actually happened is that you've missed the night time. So you can get into all sorts of trouble if you rely on judging the amount of light and equating that with the time of day, you know. So I've had some funny experiences with that, but again, I really like that, and I don't mind the dark in the middle of the winter. You know, in the middle of the winter, I think I've done a video about that on December the 21st. Shortest day, but it was still reasonably bright because of the snow and everything, and it gets light at about 9:30, 10:15, goes dark by about 3 o'clock, something like that. So the key when it is like that is just to get out of the house if you can, when it's when there is daylight, because I think that it is important. Yeah, so that's all I want to say today. So this has been an incredibly rambly one, but I just felt like doing it because I think it is important. One more time, it is important for us, I think, to reconnect with nature. They don't want us to reconnect with nature. They want us sat at home consuming fear prawn from controlled opposition YouTubers who never provide any solutions, who are constantly trying to scare people into thinking that the situation is hopeless, that Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates are so much cleverer than they are, that they never make mistakes, and that they're infallible, and that our slavery and our grandkids' slavery is baked into the cake. You know, these sorts of people. And there are people that what baffles me is that there seem to be people that enjoy consuming that type of stuff, but that's not for me. I think control the controllables, enjoy nature, try to talk to people rather than to animals, because I think you'll get a bit more back than you would do. Sorry again if I've upset people who like pets, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, just let's enjoy life. So that's all I want to say today. So God bless.